Welcome back. Now, Bridget Jones' Diary gave us the terms singleton and mummy pants. It also made actors Renée Zellweger and Colin Firth the darlings of a generation.
Well, Bridge is back, but Mark Darcy is dead. So saddened to hear that. And what's more, it made the news in Britain. We're talking front page of the Sunday paper, and on the BBC Evening News, Europe correspondent Garth Bray has met the creator of the massively popular novels and films, author Helen Fielding, and found out how she broke the sad news of Darcy's demise to Colin Firth.
I actually had quite a funny conversation with Colin when I had to ring him up and tell him sort of that he was dead, and I asked him if he was sitting down and if he had someone with him. And then we were both reacting as if someone actually had died, but at the same time laughing because nobody had died. It was a fictional character, and his memory does live on in the book.
Maybe this was the mysterious Mr. Right I'd been waiting my whole life to meet.
You remember Bridget?
Maybe not.
And I also think the great thing about Mark Darcy was it's just the idea that a reindeer sweater or other weird outfit can actually conceal someone who's a real gentleman and also really attractive and a really great kisser. And I think that that's something that he encapsulates and will continue to do so.
A fictional character dies and it's front page news. Can you explain that?
Not really. I mean, it's extraordinary, and it's very touching, because I started writing Bridget as an anonymous newspaper column. I was broke, I was a freelance journalist, and I assumed it would be stopped after 6 weeks for being too silly. So I never expected any of this to happen.
Your books have sold like 15 million copies. Why do you think people are so intrigued by these characters you've written?
The thing about Bridget is she so quickly nosedives from wild confidence, oh, I'm marvellous, I'm this, I'm that, to oh no, I'm not. And I think that's quite secretly something quite a lot of people feel, because there's so much pressure now to be something, and so much forgetting about just being kind and nice and quite funny and good to your friends, so people can have quite an unbalanced sense of who they are. And I think with the technology, I always keep little files on my computer of things that just strike me as funny, and one of the first things that I collected for this book was when my daughter was born. It was a C-section, and so I decided I was going to be very organised, and wrote a global email, because I knew exactly when she was going to be born and what she was going to be called, but then I went and sent it. So then I had to send another email to everyone saying, look, I'm really, really sorry, but I haven't actually had the baby yet. So then when I did have the baby, I felt I couldn't then send another email saying, oh, I've had the baby now. So I think that was the start of me realising that technology was beginning to make life very weird and complicated.
There's a lot of technology in the book. Do you think there's no end of ways now to know exactly just how unloved or ignored or neglected you are?
Yeah, I think that's completely true. I think when I wrote the first Bridget, you dialed 1471 or pressed your answer phone message, but now there can be echoing silence from so many sources. You know, your phone, your texts, your email, your Twitter, your WhatsApp, your Instagram, it can all go silent at once.
You've just finished the book, so does that mean there's a whole bunch of people, friends, family, you know, your children who are going, oh, thank goodness we can relax, she's going to stop writing about us and taking notes?
Actually, people are more inclined to come and tell me things. Sometimes it's a bit like being the Pope or something, that people come and tell me some awful dating disaster that's happened. Like somebody told me they'd been out on a date and then they'd kissed the man, and then 2 days later she got a global text saying his wife had just had a baby, 6 pound 12 ounces, and an Instagram picture of the baby. So little stories like that, little moments, are things people often have told me that I just thought, oh, that's really touching, and shows you how once you crack the shell of people's lives, no one's life is perfect and hard things happen to everyone.
There must be another film. How do you think you'll go convincing Renée Zellweger to play a woman in her 50s?
Well, I think I toyed with the idea of whether to put her actual age in this book, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it, because I think there's a very outdated idea of what women of a certain age are like. And there is this idea that once a woman's in her 50s, she suddenly gets a tight perm and a shopping bag and starts doing knitting. And certainly when I was in my 20s, I couldn't imagine that life would continue beyond that age. But it does. And you look around you and you see that women are still the same. People don't change. They're looking good, they're in shape. If they're single, they're still dating, and they're still attractive. And so it's time we got rid of the knitting shopping bag type perm idea and just moved on a little bit, I think.
Go, 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 go!
Okay.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Is this the last we've heard of Bridget Jones?
I don't know. I mean, what I don't want to do and have never wanted to do is just keep writing more and more Bridget books because it's expected. I think for me, I really care about Bridget as a character, and it has to come from a place of truth for me, and there has to be something I want to say and a story I want to tell. So I wouldn't write another one until I feel like that. I mean, I do think Bridget Jones becomes a celebrity might be funny, because just things that happen, like with the first book, when the English media got interested, I came home and there was a motorbike outside the house. I was like, oh, won't they ever leave me alone? And then I realised it was Pizza Domino's, and then I was really disappointed. So I think that sort of whole weird thing with fame and the media and the way we're all obsessed with looking at red carpet girls and what really goes on if you are the person who's been airbrushed is quite interesting. But I'm certainly not going to start writing another book for a long time.